Okay, I don't know how many of you hung with us, and I am so sorry. It's the Wi-Fi in the building doesn't seem to be capable of doing these. Wire it. If you're, thank you. If not, you'll probably be able to watch this later. But hey, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get into this, and I'll keep it brief so we don't take up too much of your time right now. So today I wanted to read a little bit from, or talk a little bit about Romans. The reading for today comes from Romans 8, um, 28, 31 to 32. And in this one, again, as you all know, it comes from Paul. Um, and it talks about how, and this is a topic that Jeff's preached on quite a bit and we've talked about quite a bit, but it's sort of along the lines of how bad things happen to good people, or how God doesn't want bad things to happen. It's illness or accidents or whatever it might be, but that He knows that those things are going to happen, and he knows they're going to happen to us. He knows they're going to test our strength and our faith, and but those aren't punishments. Those aren't things that he knows we can overcome those things, and by faith in him and by believing that things will get better. And that's just so important for all of us to keep in mind, that when we get down or we feel like things aren't going our way, or we're not feeling well, or whatever the case might be, that or it's just kind of part of being life, this thing we call life, and it's not God's will that those things would be done. So Paul also goes on to say in verse 37, "In all these things we win a sweeping victory through the one who loved us." No matter what, and so no matter what life throws at us, we can live through that if we have courageous hope. And that's one of the things I've talked about many times, is hope, because that's the greatest four-letter word, I think, in history, and it's even in the church's mission statement as far as bringing hope. And it is part of what helped us create our Bringing Hope Friday, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. So one of the things I also want to talk about was, this week is Love Out Loud week, or would have been Love Out Loud weekend. And of course, we're not able to do that. But hopefully, all of you have had an opportunity to do something for others, whether it's just something really small, unplanned, spur, or something end up being bigger even. But the whole premise between Love Out Loud, especially for those who might be newer to the church, was that we would come together with people in our community, other churches, and do a variety of activities around the community. We wouldn't actually hold church on that weekend. Instead, our church would be outdoors, outside, mostly serving others. Some things were done inside, but anyhow, it's so done for several years. It really started out just as us, and then a couple other churches jumped on board, and now we literally have hundreds of people that are doing projects around the community throughout the weekend, and even some throughout the week. So hopefully you found time and could figure out something you could do this week that allowed. Um, so the last thing I want to talk about is Bringing Hope Friday. The pain started back when um, we were having to shelter in place, stay at home, whatever, and we were just starting to do missions and worship online. But we wanted folks to feel connected to the community, support our community in some form or fashion, especially those impacted by the. So we started out with food for the food bank that we helped purchase, backpacks for kids at Mana, and we've just kind of been doing this for several weeks. We only have 3 weeks left, actually. We're going to wrap that up here at the end of June. This week, we're spotlighting the Adaptive Sports Association. The Adaptive Sports Association is a nonprofit here in town, serves children and adults that have disabilities of some level. Originally, they just started out as a winter program. For those of you who, many of you volunteer on this, but many of you are also, you'll see folks up on the ski mountain, um, riding on, there's different terms for them, but different types of skis, bi-skis and things like that. And the are incredible just because of the amount of safety that's involved and the patience and the kindness that it takes to do that. But a few years ago, or several years ago, they even evolved into doing summer activities well, such as rafting and things like that. And it's just been an organization that's been in this area for a long time. And they were one of our Easter offerings picks for this year. Unfortunately, after the virus hit and we had to shut down worship services as far as live services, the missions team didn't feel like we really could hold a reasonably successful Easter offering campaign. So Ed Sports unfortunately didn't get selected for that, or they did get selected, but we weren't able to continue. So this starting today, they are going to be the recipient of any donations that you may make to the Bringing Hope Friday campaign, or even if you just go through our website or our app and when there's a drop down box, you can select either general budget or missions. If you select the missions tab, anything you donate, 100% will go towards the Adaptive Sports Association. So, so far we've given away around $25,000. So it's come out to be around $3,500. Some have gotten as much as 55, some 22 to 2,500. But it's just such a blessing that you're willing to do that for our community. So, an organization that will basically and next Thursday will go to them. So I'm going off, and those of you who maybe joined in earlier, you kind of gave up. I understand that. Hopefully you can watch this later. I'm so sorry. We'll get that fixed. I'll get it fixed for myself, and I hope and blessed week. Special here soon about